right, it's 12 o'clock. Thank you for joining us at this time. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. The top stories. Members of organized labor insist on nationwide protest billed to hold tomorrow and Wednesday respectively. President of the Association of Bureau de Change of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabe, says members of the association would consider mergers if the proposed guidelines for the operations go into effect. Defense headquarters debunks allegations of coup plots. Details coming up shortly. Welcome back. I am Omoy for Peace of Semere. Now, members of the organized labor comprising both Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have maintained their earlier stance not to back down on the nationwide protest billed to hold on Tuesday and Wednesday respectively. This is coming amidst a series of warnings from various government quarters to the Congress to shelve its planned nationwide action in the interest of peace. The Department of State Services had, through its spokesman, Peter Afunaya, urged the organized labor to negotiate with the government officials rather than embarking on an action that might affect national security. Also, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, said the action of the organized labor would be contemptuous if they embarked on the protest, citing two ex parte orders previously granted by the National Industrial Court. However, members of the organized labor and some civil society organizations maintained that no level of blackmail, threats or warning from the government would make them to back down on their decision, saying the protest will be peaceful. According to media reports, NLC's head of information, Benson Opar, confirmed that members of the Congress were mobilizing across the state, insisting that they have been working through the weekend to fine-tune how peaceful the protest would be. And as the cost of living crisis worsens amid rising insecurity, the lawmaker representing Osun Central, Senator Ajagunla Olubiyi-Fadeye, has advised President Bola Tinubu to urgently convene a national stakeholders engagement forum that will profile lasting solutions to the biting challenges facing the country. Fadeye, who commended the president for providing palliatives to Nigerians, however, wondered why the reliefs were not getting to the targeted beneficiaries. Fadeye noted that as a lawmaker who is close to the people, the situation in the country has reached a level where leaders must come together to fix the problem. Responding to questions on his assessment of the state of the nation since the inception of the new administration, Fadeye expressed dissatisfaction with the escalating cost of living, growing insecurity, weakening local currency, which is said invariably worsened inflation, coupled with the impact of removal of fuel subsidy. Now, the president of the Association of Bureau de Change of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabe, has said that members of the association would consider mergers if the proposed guidelines for the operations go into effect. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in a draft paper titled Revised Regulatory and Supervisory Guidelines for Bureau de Change Operations in Nigeria, proposed an increase in the share capital of Bureau de Change operators to 2 billion naira and 500 million naira for Tier 1 and Tier 2 licenses respectively. The currency operators were previously charged 35 million naira for a general license. Also, the Apex Bank would be mandating BDC license holders to make caution deposits of 200 million naira and 50 million naira for Tier 1 and Tier 2 respectively. According to the APCON president, the proposed cautionary deposit is not a global practice, neither are BDCs engaging in deposit-taking operations. And now, against the backdrop of sustained pressure in the foreign exchange market and high cost of production, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has indicated that inventory of unsold goods is escalating to levels now threatening the existence of companies operating in the production sector of the economy with attendant job losses. According to findings, the foreign exchange market had recorded over 254 plunge in the value of the naira since flotation of the currency by the Central Bank of Nigeria last year, June. It would be recorded that the naira traded for 471 naira per dollar in the official I&E market on June the 13th of 2023 before the flotation of the currency, but exchanged for 1,665 naira to a dollar as of February 23rd, 2024 on the Nigerian foreign exchange market, indicating a depreciation of more than 253.6% over the 8-month period. You're watching news analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, Northern Senators Forum applauds the decision of the Economic Community of West African States to lift sanctions imposed on Niger Republic, Mali and Burkina Faso following the takeover of government in the three countries by the military. Details of this and more after the break. Do join us again. Right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is News Analysis live on Politics and Business TV. Now, the Defense Headquarters has debunked allegations in an online media organization claiming that the Presidential Guards Brigade has been put on high alert following suspicious movement around the seat of power, indicating fears of coup plot. According to a statement by the Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau said the attention of the Defense Headquarters has been drawn to a malicious and unfounded article published online on February the 25th, 2024, claiming that the Guards Brigade has been put on high alert following unusual movement leading to suspicion of a coup plot in Nigeria. The publication also asserted, amongst other things, that the suspicion had prompted an emergency meeting involving President Bola Tinubu, the Chief of Staff to the President and Commander of the Guards Brigade. The statement also recorded that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, had in various fora reiterated the unalloyed commitment of members of the armed forces of Nigeria to the protection and sustenance of democracy in the country. The Economic Community of West African States on Saturday lifted economic sanctions on Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso. According to media reports, the suspension lift came after extensive discussions at an extraordinary summit on the political, peace and security situation in the region at the State House Abuja by the Ecowas Authority of Heads of State and Government. In a communique, the bloc said this was done for humanitarian reasons, but the move will be seen as a gesture of appeasement as ECOWAS tries to persuade the three hunter states to remain in the nearly 50-year-old alliance. It would be recorded that the members of the 15-nation bloc, excluding Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali and Niger, along with the 8-member West African Economic and Monetary Union, decided to close all borders with Niger. Recall also that the three nations, in a joint statement issued by their military leaders, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali, and Brigadier General Abdulhamid Chani of Niger Republic, had on January the 28th, 2023, announced their immediate withdrawal from ECOWAS, where they alleged that ECOWAS had become a threat to its member states. While this may be an indication that ECOWAS is willing to resolve issues affecting the bloc and its members amicably, it had, however, repeated its call for the release of Bazoum, who was ousted, and request for the junta to provide an acceptable transition timetable as a condition, amongst others, for lifting other suspensions on Niger. The question now would be, to what extent can this suspension lift amend the broken walls and also foster regional growth, peaceful coexistence and international relations? These and more on News Analysis today, and I have my guest in the studios already, Honorable Abdulhamid Dankyarko. He is the President of the Change Initiative of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for listening.
Right. Well, a number of people have, applauded ECOWAS, for lifting although we understand it's just economic sanctions that have been, relaxed or lifted, we still have the political sanctions in place, especially in the case of Niger Republic, where ECOWAS is asking, Niger Republic or the military, government to restore constitutional rule. For some analysts, military takeover just to address demands of the people is an aberration in a democratic, dispensation. But now, did the move by ECOWAS come to you as a surprise?
Well, I thank you for listening to us or giving me an opportunity today. I think it's a coalition of all ECOWAS members in order to see things through the suffering, because we're having a situation where the people in Niger Republic and that of the neighboring states, Kano, Zamfara, Sokoto, yeah, and that of Katsina State, they are having a bilateral situation, bilateral businesses, bilateral relations, and it has been for quite a number of years. But the problem is just one thing: unlawful decision or removal or coup plots against the what do you call
the sitting government.
The sitting government. An administration that has been working tirelessly in order to make sure democracy is working in place, is working for the people, by the people, and the people that supported the democratic movement in Niger Republic. They were the ones that voted for Bazoum, and But the problem where I checked and then see things where the administration, the military leader was talking about. He said that the front are always riding on their futures. He said that France are the one printing their notes, their bills, I mean their money, their currency. So France are literally controlling their economy. So he said that we all have to correlate ourselves and work and make sure that things were moving fine. They're having natural resources. The natural resources, from his own point of view, he said that their activities are not really moving fast. Well, and one of his situation is saying that, okay, fine, that they don't have a good health facility, good schools, good this, good that, and that was the reason for the decisions of the military takeover. But I think, democracy is one of the driving factor of where things will going to move freely, where the masses will have their own say, and they will coagulate themselves and discuss their situation and foresee the what do you call the situation that might come to their way. But now nobody would have a say because it's military decision, military junta. So my own point of view is just one thing. It's a welcome agenda, is a welcome situation where the coalition of ECOWAS sit down together and see that, okay, fine, we have to ease the situation of the people living in the country because the masses are suffering.
Let me jump in real quick and take you by your words that a reason, I mean, we're using Niger now as a case study. The reason why, the military actually decided to take over government is, as a result of a truckload of issues, let's put it that way, external, undue external interference and, a host of other things. But shouldn't, dialogue, shouldn't the government consider dialogue in the first place instead of this military takeover?
Well, the problem is just one thing, that the leadership of, especially Nigeria, we're having a very, very close relationship with Niger.
Right.
And Nigeria has been supporting, giving Niger a sisterly supportive movement because we've been giving them opportunities in different denominations. Nigerian has been staying on their toes in order to make sure that the democracy movement in Niger is up to fit. And not that Nigeria are not having their own situation as well. But the problem is just one thing. Niger as our sisters. And the problem is that before the military take over, they should have sit down and negotiate and see things, okay, fine. This, we've tried this is not working. This, we've tried this is not working. And what do you call, the military in France or whatever, they said, because they said they are going to put a caveat on France because their natural resources hasn't been working freely for their own people and they are not benefiting. And he said that outsiders or the white people are controlling their economy. This is their own situation. But my thought was like, because of a political situation and the crisis that might have cost them, because it has cost them a whole lot. They have lost a whole lot. And the problem is that they should have sat down and discussed with their own people and see, okay, fine, how do we leverage in making things easier for our people? Because people are really suffering in Niger Republic. The sanctions, you know, the economic sanctions, the security sanctions, the food, yes, well, yeah. Yes, and that of the food security sanction, they are suffering. So removing this will going to ease their situation, and then the president should understand, or the military leader should understand that it can't work for. It might just work for him in a little period of time, because democracy was defined as a political system which maximizes two things: freedom of association, freedom of expression of interest. Leaders are most effective when they make everyone who work for them to feel valued. He should understand that without democracy, he shouldn't have been there.
Okay. Now, while some people had blamed ECOWAS, you know, for putting the cart before the horse, do you think rescinding, you know, or lifting the suspension was born out of duress?
ECOWAS has done their best, and I think ECOWAS have played their card very well, because mine is just one thing, that, okay, fine, in a democratic system, a country with a potential people with a political, you know, situation where they said that there are no country, even in America, they haven't political situation, they haven't democratic situation. If you ask me, then I'll tell you that, okay, fine, they were discussing about entering other countries, fighting, doing this and that, and, you know, encroaching on other people. And if the president or if the military leader is saying that other countries are, you know, inciting or discussing or putting pressure on them or discussing their country, yes, America are doing the same in other places. But the problem is just that the situation in Niger is different from that of the other countries.
This is Africa.
This is Africa. Our problems are different from the white people problem. Our problem is African problem, West African problem. We know how to deal with our problem. We know how to discuss our problem. We know how to, like the removal of sanctions, they are jubilating, jumping and groveling. You can see that they're happy. And Nigeria, they've removed, Nigeria will going to restore back the energy, the light. Nigeria will have already agreed to remove the border security sanction in order for food bilateral businesses between Nigeria and Niger, Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, because even the Nigerians are suffering from the situation.
In what way did we actually
Thank you.
From this
in business perception, because the perspective of business in Niger, because the neighboring countries are bilateral between animal businesses, cattle businesses, goods, and other ram businesses between the neighboring places. And food, Niger are suffering from food from Nigeria, because Nigeria, we've closed the border, we closed the bilateral situation, and they are begging.
Where the border is really closed. Are you unaware of the fact that trucks were intercepted by the Nigerian customs? Smuggling is another something. So how are those trucks going to cross the border?
The problem is our fault. It's Nigerian fault.
Okay.
Because the security operatives, we have customs, we have immigration officers, it's their job.
Okay. Right now, what is the implication of lifting this, economic sanctions on these countries? Mm-hmm. We're not even talking about the political sanctions yet.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The political problems that I think it might cause is just that the leader, the military leader, thinks that he's going to be an alpha or omega, and he thinks he's strong enough to refute or to refuse the sanctions, the problems, the discussion that he should allow Bazoum to stay free. They refuse, and I think it will going to give them a political problem. Okay. In the country, because the problem is just one thing, that he refused to release the opted president, and he refused to coordinate with the members of ECOWAS in order to relieve the people from their situation. Because politically, he should have given the African ECOWAS reasons of why he refused to release Bazoum, and second, he should give them a time frame of when he will step down for a pure political activities, for democracy must come back. I think ECOWAS and especially President Tinubu should stay stiff and strong against that. And he should talk to them, and he should give them a period of time of when he is going to step down for democracy to stay in play. Because without democracy, we will have a political problem. We will have a security border problem between Nigeria. Because we're having a political situation in Zamfara, Sokoto, KB, that of Kano. Because we are having banditry situation. So with that problem, I think Nigeria need to do something, need to stay fit, need to do border patrol strongly against incoming and incoming and outgoing of security ammunitions.
Okay, so I mean, for General Abdulhamid of Niger Republic, who seems to be a very hard nut to crack, do you think himself and his cohorts, talking about the leaders in Mali, Burkina Faso and the rest, you think they would take this in good faith?
Definitely. One thing is he need to understand that that Niger Republic doesn't have a strong secure military power. He can't play with the ECOWAS, he can't play with Nigeria, he can't play even the Burkina Faso and that of Mali and Niger. If they even come together, they can't fight ECOWAS. They don't have the strong economic military power to fight this. The only thing is that he should understand that his people are suffering. He should understand that people are in situation. He should understand that his economy will not going to work because people are against his actions. Their actions are out of play. Their actions need to be observed, because the ECOWAS said that we are going to seriously sit down and negotiate with them in order to give them little space to breathe. Because without them having a little space to breathe, food will not going to be in play. They wouldn't have food, no security, no coalition, no bilateral businesses. Even things, local things, wouldn't be given to them. So he should understand that his people are in a situation, and he should understand that Nigeria are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that their people are in good conditions.
On a scale of 1 to 100, do you think constitutional rule can be restored in these countries?
Of course. Constitutional rule will be played, because the ECOWAS are strongly in coalition with that of the other states that have sat down and said, okay, fine, we will going to relieve them on their own situation.
But don't forget, these countries have actually decided to pull out of ECOWAS.
Whether or not...
But ECOWAS is still insisting that, no, you are still our members.
Yeah, they are our members, because the reason is just one thing. They are Africans. We know our problems. We know how to take care of our problems. We wouldn't want any interference from the outside of Africa. We want to sit down and negotiate our problems. We want to sit down and see things to ourselves. We want to sit down and see, okay, fine, my sister, my brother, come, what is the problem? Let's sit down, let's fix this. But you should understand we have our own goals too. We have, the goals is for the people to stay free, to have their own mouths to talk. They have their free minds to discuss their own situation. There is no how their countries will going to succeed without democracy. Democracy is the only solution to everyone that will going to sit down and discuss. Even in Niger, nobody will discuss this because of the military situation. So they should understand they don't have this strong military power. If ECOWAS will remove the what do you call, the sanction again, or put another sanction again, they will be in situation. We know how hard it is for them, but military are military, so they are making it more to show that nothing is happening. But we understand, we've seen their situation, we've seen their schools, we've seen their roads, we've seen their even local foods.
According to Omar Torre, over the weekend at the meeting, at the State House, he said the reason why they've decided to extend this hand of, friendship is probably because we are, in the period of Lent, and we know that Ramadan is, coming up pretty soon. So, which means that in the absence of these seasons, there wouldn't have been any reason to even have a rethink about, the suspensions on these countries.
Well, even at that, I think it's not just about Ramadan, it's about the people. it's not just about Ramadan, it's about the people, it's about the country, it's about the situation of the people. It's not just about, Ramadan is just 1 month. But the problem is just one thing, that we're having a democratic system that is in play, and this man unlawfully removed an elected president, which has been there for quite a period of time, and he was working for his own people. But before they opted him out and let him understand that democracy is the only solution to his own people, because military cannot work with and continue riding on people, because right now he is riding on his own people because they don't have word to say, they don't have mouth to say anything, because it's military dictatorship in their countries. So, and let me tell you something, they need Africa, they need Nigeria, they need ECOWAS. Whether or not they are just bringing out their shoulders, they need Africa, they need ECOWAS. And because ECOWAS, they've suffered enough. We've seen how hard it is for them. Now, I've discussed with Niger people. There are so many of them in Nigeria. We have so many of Nigerians in Niger. So
should these, military hunters ignore ECOWAS' hand or gesture of friendship and peaceful deliberations? What should be the next step?
Well, the problem is just one thing. I know that they wouldn't allow that to happen. The military junta wouldn't allow that to happen because they need this discussion. They need this removal of sanction, because right now I know that they are sitting and discussing of how to go about it, because they wouldn't just sit down. They don't have enough economy to continue holding on themselves. So they need other African sisters in order to work freely, in order to bring a lasting solution in democratic dispensation.
All right. Well, Umar Toure has said that these countries, they contribute only 10% of GDP growth to the West African region. That leaves us with so much to talk about, with a lot to take in. Also, Nigerians have welcomed the lifting of some of the sanctions, saying they are hoping for improved economic situation in their country. But again, we keep our fingers crossed to see. And also, we're hoping sincerely that, the military hunters will actually accept and take this, hand of friendship in good faith, and perhaps come back to the table to dialogue extensively with ECOWAS and the relevant stakeholders to see how issues and the broken walls can, be mended. Abdulhamid Dankyarko is the president of the Change Initiative of Nigeria. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
And that's it for news analysis today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Omo Piece of Semere. I'll be back at the top of the hour with the news update. Good afternoon.
He should have given them a period of time of when he's going.